Ladies and gentlemen, it's the first Wednesday of August 2nd, 2023, and this is episode number 113 of Material Issues. I'm Mark Hershberger of Pop Detective Records. I'm over here on the East Coast, just outside of Philadelphia and South Jersey, where it is 6 p.m. Eastern. But where is it 3 p.m. Pacific? Out on the West Coast. And that's where my good friend David Bash, who runs the International Pop Overthrow Festival with a lot of Pop Overthrow news this episode, is. Mr. Bash, good evening. How the heck are you?
I'm well, Mark. How are you?
I'm wonderful. You know what? I have to just take a quick pause here. We've got a very dear friend of mine just checked in.
Oh,
Patrice Solis. She actually, her parents were like second parents to me when I worked in a restaurant, a high-end Italian restaurant called Appanino in Allentown, PA.
oh,
And she's like a sister to me. Her parents, God rest their souls, had a wonderful restaurant. That's where I learned fine dining and how to do it right. Julian de Lafayette and everybody at the place. So Patty Solis, who runs, per Condé Nast travel magazine, she runs the top Italian villa rental company in the world.
wow.
So if you're looking for a nice Italian villa getaway, it's Papavero. Papavero. Patty, you're going to have to spell Papavero so I can pop it up and people can check it out.
Will she
And
spell it with the rolling R's?
yes, you got to have the rolling R's. We
Well,
need a couple of.
Patty, if I may call you that, since you introduced yourself as Patrice, it's very nice to meet you and thank you for tuning in.
There it is. Papavero Villa.
Looks like
And
Papavero
I don't know. I'm just
or,
trying to be really
or
Italian. It could be
Papavro
Papavero.
with a silent E. All right.
But anyway, bravo. She's got the best villas all over Italy. And if you're looking to, and she takes very good care of you. She checks out all the villas herself personally. She knows the people that own them. She can recommend restaurants all around them and where to go. And it's the best. So if you're looking for a villa rental, that's where you're going to go. And there's Bash the Stump.
Is bash the stump a euphemism for something men do often? I know women do it too.
Hey, we do need a theme song. We asked early on, like 2 years ago when we started this show, if somebody could help write us a theme song and come up with that, but we've never had anybody do that. We have the Stump the Bash theme song, which is wonderful. But you're welcome, Patty. Good to see you. Miss you. But yeah, so if anybody has some licks that can.
Any of you musicians out there, we would be honored to have you create our theme song. We would.
But we've got a great show going on tonight. It's just David and I. We don't have a guest this evening, but hang on. I hope you hang on, or else watch the archives for the end of the show. We're going to be announcing 4 guests coming up in the next 5 weeks or so, and they are 4 awesome guests. I mean, it's just going to be fantastic. We won't spoil it yet because we like to wait to the end of the show. You got to stick around to find out who is coming up, but you're going to go, wow, that's cool. Got to be here at Material Issues. We're going to catch up with David's taste buds tonight. Catch up.
I get it.
We're going to talk IPO, the brand new 3 CD IPO set. IPO LA is coming up. Look at the graphic that Steve Stanley did there.
Oh my God. Yeah, he really outdid himself. Every year when he does something better, I think, how's he going to top it? And then he does.
And there it is. And
yeah, awesome.
David will mention this, but you go to IPO LA, get there quickly, early for the first shows because these are handed out free.
Absolutely free while supplies last.
Amazing.
So definitely do come to IPO LA. Of course, not just for the CD, but for the really high quality music, which will be preferred by. Now I'm reminded of that stupid Subway commercial that's on now where they don't. I think it's kind of funny because if I recall the first commercials, it's like they didn't realize the pun they were doing.
Yeah.
They thought like preferred was some, I don't know, urban way of saying preferred. And I think somebody tipped them off to it. Now they've changed it to where we prefer it, and you prefer it.
Prefer it, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think the first ones they honestly didn't know.
Didn't know what they were doing.
Which is an indictment of this generation. Which
Andy's checking in. Good to see you, Andy. Yeah, we're going to be talking all things IPO. We're going to have what I am considering the toughest Stump the Bash.
Oh my God!
To date. Why do I think it's the toughest? And it's just the way it works out. I just pick out a number and we go that way. But of course, Dave will probably prove me wrong and absolutely kill it.
You're not changing you're not changing the essence of your clues. Like suddenly, I don't think I'm going to give you labels anymore. Or
no, but you know what? I think with this one, for some reason, it got to be a little tough because you know how I tell you there's sometimes it's hard to come up with decent clues because the song is there's a number of those this time. Whereas in most of them there might be two that had tough clues because it's just the way the song is. You don't have a lot of information. These have some more. So it depends on the years you pick too.
We'll see if I pick those two. But yeah, well let's just talk about IPO LA.
Yeah, let's talk some IPO.
It's 2 days from now, so I'm getting the usual anxiety / excitement is definitely encountering me right now, and it's all bleh. See, I can't even articulate now, but it's something, of course, leading up to the shows, and once everything starts, suddenly anxiety disappears, and it's exclusively excitement. Mm-hmm. And I know that this is going to be a great IPO. We're at Redwood Bar, a venue that we used partially last year. Now we're doing it exclusively. Eddie Lopez, who books it, great guy, really excellent person to work with, and loves this kind of music, so that helps. It's got really good AC for a venue. I'm sure you've been in some of them, especially during the summer, where the AC is just bleh.
Yeah.
And it becomes a sweat box. Not the case at Redwood Bar. I think one of the reasons being that it's also a restaurant, and they serve great food. Rena and I had the salmon salad every time we were there last year, and I'm probably just going to do that again. The salmon salad and fries, they do great fries also. So, yeah, looking for it. So I recommend that if you live in LA, that you come to the shows, not just for the music and not just for the CD, but for the for the food. That's really flattering, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we look forward to doing this every week too. As as much as everybody else likes hanging out with us, that's what we like. We like hanging out with everybody and talking. So,
so anyway, this will be the 24th IPO LA. Which we would have hit our quarter century mark if not for COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know. If not for COVID, not to be dramatic, but maybe I would have been hit by a car and there'd be no IPO. There's as Michael Kay, the Yankee announcer, brings up, the falsehood of, I think it's called the falsehood of the predetermined outcome. Meaning that if something changes, that doesn't mean that the next outcome is going to be what it would have been prior to that change.
Right.
Like I'm trying to think of a good example of how he uses it. Oh, like if all right, for example, if a batter hits into a double play, and then the next batter homers, and they say, well, that could have been a 3-run homer if it had been a base hit instead of a double play. But who knows if the homer would have happened if it had been a base hit? Yeah. Obviously, everything would have been different. People would have moved differently. Maybe a different pitch would have been thrown. So you can't assume the outcome's going to be the same just because something beforehand might have been different.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing here. I mean, yeah, COVID did, in a large sense, cost us 2 years of IPO LA, but who knows what would have happened had there not been COVID. Anything could have happened.
Yeah.
So,
hey, Gary, good to see you.
It all is what it is. And so we're in year 24. We'll do 25 next year.
We'll do 25 next year. Yeah. But that's incredible. The 24 years of IPOLA. That's a heck of a number.
Yeah, and we've hit 20 years in several other cities, right? Well, I don't know about well, we hit it in New York and Chicago for sure. I'm trying to think if we hit it in Boston, or this is going to be. We think 20. No, this would. Wait, no, I think we have, because Liverpool will be our 20th year next year.
Wow.
Yeah. We did one extra Boston, so yeah, we did hit our 20th in Boston. We'll hit our 20th in Liverpool next year. At the same time, we hit our 25th in LA. So that's going to be a great celebration.
Yeah.
So wow. Yeah, I mean, and
well, we'll wait for the IPO CD box set one of these days. It's going to be called IP. Oh my God, there's a lot of CDs in here.
Yeah, that reminds me of you remember Steve Howe, who pitched for several teams.
Yeah.
You remember Dodgers, how he had the cocaine problem and he kept getting suspended.
Yeah.
So you also remember how Chris Berman would come up with nicknames for players. Like Eddie, Eat, Drink, and Be Murray. That kind of thing. So Bill James in one of his books was doing that, and he said, "Steve, how many chances does he get, for Christ's sake?"
That's so true.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, they don't care if you can play it, then you'll get all the chances you want.
Oh, sure, I know.
But yeah, so this really came out well. Oops.
Yeah, Steve Stanley did a great job. Steve Stanley did the artwork, the graphics.
Steve Stanley did the artwork.
What I love about the inside with the CDs, I love the fact that the splotch of color on each CD matches the color behind on the panel of the CD. So the printing.
Steve is he's very proud of the fact that he really does put a lot of thought into the disc labels.
And this thing is free if you go to IPOLA. I mean, who does that? Who does that?
Nobody.
Nobody does that.
And you know what else nobody does? Nobody else keeps the admission the same price as it's been for the past 15 years. We've been $10 a show every year since about 2008. And I have no plans. There are special shows sometimes. Yeah. Like when we had material reissue, we charged more than 10. When we had Roger Manning play one year, we charged more than 10. There are certain reasons for that. It wasn't necessarily be greedy either, but it was, the main reason we charged 20 for the Roger Manning show was I wanted to make sure that anyone who really, really wanted to see that show would have the opportunity to do so. So I figured by raising it $10, we'd get rid of the sort of, ambivalent types. Would have paid 10, but wouldn't pay 20. And it worked out well. We actually sold out about an hour before showtime. So it was absolutely perfect.
Well, nobody does it better. Makes you feel sad for the rest.
That will not be on Stump the Bash.
No, it will not. But what a great 3 CD package. And that's volume, what, 24?
24.
24.
Yeah, we've done one every year. First year was a 1-disc set. Years 2 through 4 was 2 discs, and years 5 through 24 have been 3.
Man, that's a lot of great music. And this one, I mean, every one that comes out, it's like, wow, it's great music from great artists, and you got to check it out. But it just seems like every year it just ramps up, and it's just the way your mind works, because you've already heard the one in the back, but now it's just another packed 3 CD set. Man,
I'm trying to think of which tracks we played last time.
Hey, I'm not sure who's here saying hi. Drop us.
What's up, Marky Mark?
And then there's Basharoo. We got a couple.
Basharoo. Oh.
Yeah, I know. I see. We got tissue. We can rhyme with issue. I got nothing else.
I forgot what I played last time, but
Yeah, you
let
played.
me know. I'll play a few more. Let me know if we heard this one when I first put these tracks up on the website. But here is a gentleman who goes by the name of Feder. He's from. It's not. That's got to be John Borak. No, it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
Anyway, we've got Feder here, who his band Shiner 22 played IPO. You may remember their CD. They were really good.
Yeah.
He's back and doing new music under his first name, Feder.
Wow.
He's from Copenhagen.
Yeah.
And here's a track called Recipe for Bliss on IPO Volume 24.
That's classic Shiner 22 sound too.
Yeah, that's
I hear a lot of Shiner 22. Obviously,
well, his voice was a big focal point of that band. So,
and that was my first dog.
The style is similar, yeah.
My first dog that I fostered after I got Ches ended up in Canada with Bob Reed from the Klaatu side of things, and they changed that dog's name to Bliss. So if you're watching, guys, yes,
well, there's the
rest. Watching, you're gonna have to get this 3 CD set so you have that song, Recipe for Bliss. That's great. That's awesome.
Pretty cool song. Now we have Jody and the Germs from are they from I don't know if they're from Oxford or they're from somewhere in the UK. And it's a female lead singer on this one, and they're fun. They're a really fun band, and this song is called Insatiable on IPO 24.
Put that on a Go-Go's album, it's a hit.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Absolutely, yeah. Very strong Go-Go's influence there.
Yeah, I mean that.
Andy, did you guys play on the same night as in Liverpool as Jody and the Germs? I don't remember, but you might have. Because I remember I saw both of you. That's part of how I know. I didn't. If you played Saturday and Sunday, I didn't see you.
Does she spell? Do they spell it GERMS?
No, it's JERMS.
That's what I thought. Jody and the Germs works
right.
better that way.
Little alliteration.
Works better.
Now, a lot of people think, well, this is a power pop festival, which it is not. Although we do feature a lot of power pop. So people might expect that everything on this CD would be power pop. That is not so, as evidenced by this track. Yeah, see, that's something clicked in your brain, Andy. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
It woke up some sleeping neurons. Anyway, here's a track by a gentleman named Andrew Stonehome, and it's called "Tired of Your Ghost" on IPO Volume 24.
So tired of your ghost. You know I miss it the most. I never meant to ignore you. I never know what to do. I'm so tied up and lonely now. I didn't know you cared. I'm so tied up and lonely now. I didn't know you cared.
That's really good.
Yeah, very pretty.
I mean,
he has not played IPO yet because he lives in Portland, and great track, isn't it? He has an album out that's really cool, and I think he's got a new one coming out soon.
And who is that again? That was
Andrew Stonehome.
Stonehome.
Stonehome. Stone and Home.
That song would have fit in well on the Rollers Elevator album. You know, I can hear. I hadn't
thought of that, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's beautiful track, and I love just the phrase when you turn a phrase like "I'm so tired of your ghost."
Yeah,
you know, if you've had that kind of experience in a relationship or whatever, that's the first thing I think about when I hear that phrase. Is, you know, you've got ghosts that follow you everywhere, and sometimes you just get tired of certain ghosts.
Yeah, I imagine that's what he's referring to in the song. But
just really well done. Well done
indeed.
And that's on IPO Volume 24.
Here's another ballad, non-power pop, by an act from Atlanta called Floral Portrait. And this track is called Clarissa, and it's on IPO Volume 24.
Another lonely summer, we're talking without speaking. One quick smile to everyone you're meeting. It was so strange to watch you walk away. I looked it up. Each day you're there, my mind goes. Help me to show how I really care for you so. I felt distracted until you walked my way. Clarissa, now or never. Our love can last forever. In dreams we dance together. Let's make it real forever now.
Yeah. What's wonderful about this is that you've got all these. How many tracks on this? 68.
68. Yeah.
68 tracks on this thing, and so far we've just heard 4 tracks. All of them were killer. And the thing is, most of these artists have either a full-length album or more out, or EPs or whatever. And this is how you discover great stuff. And you go out there and you buy the things from them. And
Floral Portrait does have an album.
Nice.
If I ever bring IPO back to Atlanta, hopefully, I would imagine they'd play, and maybe they were talking about possibly coming to another city. So I would love to see them live.
Another well done song, Clarissa.
Yeah, Jason Bronson is the main songwriter in the band. So
really well done. Really well done.
I don't remember if I played. Did I play Rolling Numbers last time? Shimmering Eyes?
No, I don't think so. Rolling Numbers.
This is a band from Chicago called Rolling Numbers. Yeah, I know.
Sounds like a Cheap Trick illusion.
I believe it is. And
I love it already. I haven't even heard it, and I love it.
And let's see. So yeah, so this track is, I think, it's on an upcoming album, and it's really good. Shimmering Eyes on IPO Volume 24. Oops.
Constellations glowing bright. When I look into your shimmering eyes, windows to inside your head.
Yeah, so they played IPO Chicago a couple of times, and I'm hoping to get them to Liverpool because I think they go over really well. All right, so we'll wind up this section of IPO CD tracks with, last week we played Roger Manning. This week we're playing Barbara Manning, no relation. But Barbara Manning, I believe at the time of her 80s band, was living in the Bay Area as Roger Manning was. Her band was called 28th Day. I don't know if you remember, I used to see their LP in every cool indie rock shop. Like 3rd Street, was it 3rd Street Jazz in Philadelphia?
3rd Street Jazz and Rock, yeah.
That may be the first place I ever saw it, but off the record, I know who that is. Yeah, I don't think Rick Manning has ever.
Followed by Eli and Peyton Manning a week after that.
Yeah, he never supplied a track to us.
Yeah, 3rd Street Jazz and Rock.
Great
one of my favorite places to hang out.
I remember just stumbling into it one time and couldn't believe how good it was. This might have been 1980, probably 86 actually, or 88. No, it might have been 88. Yeah, and man, they had all these indie rock albums that I'd never seen before.
Yeah, it was a great place. Great place. And there's only a couple blocks from where I work, so every lunch I was there. And Archie Manning.
And Archie, yes. We didn't mention him, I guess.
Yeah, anyway, what a great place. But yeah.
Barbara Manning is still going strong. She'll be playing IPO LA, and she has a track on IPO Volume 24 called Cantor's Mind Was Rocking.
Some wild psychedelia going on there.
His notions of dimensions where numbers ring or kneel. No greater power than naturals, and no less powerful reals. God may be infinity, there's countless more in space. Infinity of sizes, infinities of place. Cantaloupe, not good to hate, is that it did the talking. Ripped the math almost in half. Cantor's mind was rocking.
Man, I have to tell you, that song reminds me so much of Wednesday week.
Oh, Wednesday week, yeah.
We had Christy and Kelly Callan's mom,
Kay Callan,
Kay
yes.
Callan, on a few months ago. We didn't have the sisters yet, but hopefully we will one day.
Yeah.
But Wednesday week was a big favorite band of mine in the mid '80s, and this track sounds a lot. Well, I mean, it reminds me a lot of 28th Day. Mm-hmm. So if you remember back then, there were all kinds of bands who were played on college radio,
right?
That were doing that sound, that really kind of neo psychedelic indie sound that so many of us loved. So, and it's great. Barbara Manning's a really nice lady, and it'll be good to see her again at IPOLA, where you can get and will, if you show up, well, while supplies last, but they probably will. If you show up, you will get a free copy of International Pop Overthrow, Volume 24.
Now, let's say there's viewers here that are not in the LA area and can't come to IPOLA. How do they get their hands on this 3 CD set?
I'm so glad you asked that, Mark.
It just popped into my head. We don't,
They can certainly get their hands on the 3 CD set by pre-ordering from Omnivore Recordings, our label. See?
Yeah.
Go to the Omnivore Recordings website. They have a link to pre-order up there. It also has. You can also see the track listing. You can read it better than you could if I just hold it up to the screen. And it's going to be released officially on September 8th. They have to go through protocols to get things released. And, based upon the time I was able to deliver all the materials, the artwork and the finished tracks, it takes 3 months or so to get everything in the system and get it processed and get it released. So you'll have to wait a little bit, a little more than a month, but it'll be worth the wait. So everybody who's not coming to IPOLA, just head over to Omnivore Recordings and order it. You'll be glad you did. I promise you that.
And based on years past, it's not an expensive 3 CD set.
No,
it's not. It's
about $20,
right? Which 3 CDs and that packaging and this music, you just heard 6 of the 68 tracks, and all 6 of those were tracks. Last week we heard 5 or 6, and they were all
I think we heard 6 others.
So I mean, right there, I've heard 12 of the 68 tracks. And that's worth $20 right there.
We have a future in infomercials, I think.
Yes, we do.
When
we just got to
20 years from now, when all these CDs are out of print, we can go on and just like when you were young. You can't buy these in stores. Well, by then you probably won't be able to.
Remember when you used to pop these in the CD player and select any track you wanted to?
And there's the rub, because obviously that gives us I'm trying to think of what word I want to use here, but it calls to mind. Thank you very much. It calls to mind streaming. Well, these things are not streamable. So that's kind of the equivalent of can't find them in any stores. You cannot find them in any streaming site, because we want people to buy the CDs. We want to keep physical product alive. More and more bands are deciding, I don't think I need to put out a CD, and vinyl's too expensive. So we'll just leave it up on Bandcamp or on on Spotify as a streaming thing. And while I have nothing against streaming per se, that can't be the end all be all.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure people buy the CDs, so we're not putting them on streaming sites. But it'll be worth it, I promise. Yeah. So
great
anyway,
stuff.
That's that. So starting in 2 days, they will be available.
At IPOLA, Redwood Bar. Get out there.
Bar.
Go to the show. Enjoy the heck out of it. Listen to great music. See it live, and take home your free copy of the IPO.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, it's great.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, should we do some ketchup tasting?
Yeah, we'll do that in 1 second. I wanted to kind of tie into the fact that you talked about the physical product and what it means. Well, first of all, my T-shirt check. This T-shirt is an old rotary dial phone, and the cool thing about getting this shirt is you could customize the phone number, and this is the phone number I grew up with when I was a kid. 683-3904.
No area code, not necessary back then.
But 683-3904. I don't know if they reuse numbers because we haven't lived there or been around for a long time, but I've never redialed it to see if anybody else has the number. So I don't know, but I remember this phone number from my youth more than anything. So I was like, got to put that on the T-shirt, 683-3904. And that's what all, but tying back into the physical product, we had discussed before we went on air that I was nostalgically thinking about when I got my first, what were called kind of combo stereo units when I was a kid. I spent all those young years with the transistor radio and the mono earphone, listening that way. And my parents had their own little, stereo system. I believe it was from Sears, and there was a turntable, and I would use that quite a lot.
Oh, sure.
Checking out, Robin was saying Yukon something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But they do. I redialed mine. It turns out to be a friend of Richard. So there you go. I don't know who this is because his Facebook
I don't know who
user,
Richard is either. But
my brother's Richard, so it could be a relative here. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. But what I was saying was I would listen to my parents' stereo, and they got annoyed because they'd be watching TV and the stereo was down in the family room. And I had 2 albums when I was young that friends had bought me for Christmas. One was the Beatles' second album, which was the US version, and the other was a thing called like Leaders of the Pack or something. It was all 50s.
Oh yeah,
it was great. The vinyl was so thin it would go wah, 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 if you shook it.
But yeah, was it a K-Tel or a Ronco or one of those?
Yeah. One of those cheap things like that. And there was like it was four records in it, and it was really like that thick, even with 4 records. It was amazing.
And there were like 12 tracks on each side because they edited them.
Right. But that's where I fell in love with like Duke of Earl and songs like that. And I would listen to them on my parents' stereo, and they got so annoyed after a while that I was always there that they bought a pair of earphones, the kind with the long twirly cord, and they were like this big. Headphones. And I would sit there while they were watching TV, and they realized how much I loved music that in the Christmas of 1973, just after my 12th birthday, they bought me a Sears, what I call the all-in-one thing. It had the turntable, cassette, 8-track, and the radio tuner.
Cassette and 8-track.
Cassette and 8-track. It was full bore. And back then, they were not cheap, and my parents, they weren't made of money. So for them to buy something like that for me, and that changed. I have the Leaders of the Pack compilation too. That changed my world, because I went from having 2 records that I own myself and a few little 45s to now having a paper route and shoveling snow and mowing grass and doing whatever I could to get some money together to go down to the local record shop, which was a block away from my house, and start my love of buying vinyl. And I used that combo system till I was in college, I think. That was my combo system. And we would make we would not only make the cassette tape tree things where you send cassettes out, we'd do it on 8-track. And because it was a recordable 8-track. It was a recordable 8-track.
Yeah.
Awesome. But that's just, I was telling my daughter yesterday, having lunch with my daughter Hannah, and I was telling her just how wonderful it was to get that in 1973 and to go down and get a copy of something you really wanted, and I would play that album, a new album, 2-3 times a day for like 6 straight months. I couldn't get enough of the thing that I spent my hard-earned money on, and loved to hear about it. And I don't know about you right now, David. I know for me as a fact, I can hear a great CD. I can hear a great album that I get right now, but it's different. I don't listen to it multiple times a day for many months in a row. I just don't. It's not the same as that time
Right.
period because of how old I was and what it meant to spend, $4.99 or $5.99 to buy an album and treasure it and keep
Well,
it good.
plus, sure, there's always that, and that's a very very important, a very very important factor. But back then, of course, you didn't have as many albums, so
Right.
you spent more time with each one. Plus, your mind wasn't as. I mean, our brains get more full as we get older,
Sure.
and our filing systems in our heads are not very efficient generally, unless you're like Jerry Lucas and can memorize the phone book like he did, and then recall a number from page 85. Generally, so we're just trying to make sense of all the information that's in there, and it's just really difficult to absorb things now. The way much more difficult to absorb things now than it used to be, and we don't have the inclination. Um, so yeah, it's a totally different. Yeah,
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right,
Mhm.
DC. The sweet spot of 13 to 22, and that's with a lot of things in life when you think about it, because back then, everything that you do and all your experiences, it's so much of it's brand new, and you
Mhm.
can't wait for that next thing that's going to happen tomorrow, because it's exciting to be there. It's the same way with music. You're hearing music and music styles and things for the first time, really listening to it when you get into that wheelhouse. You get to our age now, we pretty much you know, heard everything. You're just hearing you know, some slight alterations to it that make it unique for each band that you hear now.
Yeah,
But it's not like when you were young and discovering this kind of stuff. And back then, if you were lucky enough to tune in the radio and hear a favorite track, once or twice a day, you had to get lucky, unless you were
yeah,
listening to the radio 24/7. But if you could buy that vinyl, you could play that track, you could play that album over and over and over and over again, and just love it.
I was an amazingly late bloomer for when it came to records. I didn't buy the first two albums that I bought were the cassettes of the Red and Blue Beatles albums, and
Mm,
that was in 19 April of 1974. So I'm 15, and I
yeah.
haven't even bought any 45s at this point because I don't have a turntable, and my parents didn't have a turntable. They had a compact system also, but it was just AM, FM, and cassette.
Mm.
So we didn't have a turntable. I bought those cassettes, and then it took another year before I started buying more cassettes. In 1975, finally, I got a turntable and a receiver, and I started buying records. But I was so much late to the table as I was with a lot of things in my life. So yeah, I never did get to experience at age 12 or 13 what you did, and I'm pretty jealous actually.
Yeah. No, that's kind of true.
I do, Andy, but I guess I'm a reviewer, so I guess I
Well,
don't.
yeah, but I could, and everything goes along with it. Someone said, "When did you acquire your first
I
promo?"
know who that was. I know who that is.
But my parents had their like receiver, and then it hooked up to the turntable separate. But it was in a little cabinet called a dry sink. It came from my grandparents' farm. It's basically where they had the wash basin and whatnot, but they redid it to have it. And I tell you, I when you open the cabinet to turn the power on, there was a musty wood kind of smell to the
Oh yeah.
inside.
Mhm.
To this day, I can smell that whenever I take an album out and go put it on my own turntable. I can harken back to those days and hear the creak of the door that I when it opened up to turn the power on, and smell this old wood smell, which all ties into the whole nostalgic experience of how great it really was back then. And my daughter gets it. Hannah gets it. She's very jealous of the fact that she didn't grow up in that time and experience
I
that.
feel badly for young people who are jealous of that kind of thing, because most of them just think it's, it's like your granddad's life, and they don't care. But
she gets it though. She appreciates
yeah,
how much fun it had to have been because she's a music lover. She loves the physical. She has to have the CD. She has to have the vinyl.
ship off the old block. I love it.
She gets it. It's tough to explain to a lot of people just how much fun it really was. And it's a part of a certain time, that, and we discussed earlier, you're not going to see that again. And
you won't see it again, and that's okay. Like I said, I always say,
everything changes.
The kids of today deserve their life, whatever it is, whatever the accoutrement, whatever the trappings are, it's theirs. And it's really not for us to criticize. And it's not for us to say, well, they should be living the way we did.
Right. And you know what? If
that's true, a lot more distractions, a lot more. The kids today have so much bombarding them. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why things are so inefficient. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why they're not. And I mean, this is a generalization. I know there are exceptions. They're certainly not as articulate, and their grammar is abhorrent. I mean, you read stories on websites. There's so many grammatical and spelling errors, and I mean, the young generation doesn't really care. They I don't know if they've actually analyzed it, but I think it's just part and parcel with the world we live in. All that stimulation, all that, we got to get this out now. We have to hurry. What's more important, getting the story or getting the grammar right and being too late for the story? And the answer always is getting the story. So screw grammar, screw spelling. People will get it. Yeah. It doesn't matter. And it's not for me to criticize that. It's not something I would advocate, but that's what it is now.
Yeah, and if it wasn't,
there's a reason for it. If we were bombarded with all that stimuli, we'd be having the same problems. But sure. Was it DC Toon Time mentioned about there's just too much going on, that we didn't have nearly as much going on? It's true, we didn't. Yeah. We had 3 or 4, maybe 5 channels. We had no internet. There were even in the big cities, life was a lot slower than it is now.
Well, it is, and that's goes back to my point of really losing yourself in a certain time and moment, whether it is with the headphones on with an album, or whether it was with a very good book, or whether it was with a stack of baseball cards and the stats on the back, and learning everything. You had the time to lose yourself in one particular thing.
The end of Dazed and Confused really sums that up very well. Dazed and Confused is my favorite movie of all time. It really is, and partially because I can identify with it, with the period. Well, yeah, it did. Everything we had its own smell. And smell is a very, very strong memory stimuli.
Yep.
Anyway, the end, not the exact end, but the scene where Mitch, the young kid who's kind of coming of age, his mom has given him a lecture about being late, and she closes the door, and he gets into his bed, and he puts his headphones on, and he's listening to Slow Ride by Foghat. That kind of sums it up. That's what you did.
Exactly
then
right.
You could escape. You could escape from the rest of the world. You could dream. I mean, I'm sure he was probably reminiscing about the makeout session he'd had a few hours earlier.
Yeah.
And his buddies and all that stuff. And you could do that then. And there's not much room in our lives now for that.
Do you have a memory of a particular album that you listened to like that really took you away?
Oh my God, there were a lot of them. I'll just pick one from when I just started college, actually. Ambrosia, Somewhere I've Never Traveled.
Oh, wow.
If I put headphones on and listen to that, the very nature of that album, the kind of spaciness, but the kind of placid spaciness of most of that album really did take me away.
Yeah.
There are a couple of jarring parts in it also, which wake you right up, like uh-oh. But that's one I can think of. More Than a Feeling by Boston, not a power pop song, by the way. Would be another one that would definitely do that. But there were so many where
I think there were a lot, and I think obviously you would agree with what one album that took me away, but Klaatu's Hope.
Oh yeah, God yeah.
That actually transported me to another planet with my eyes closed and the big headphones on. I that's one of the first albums that I really got lost in.
No, that's a very easy one to do that.
Lost,
me too.
You know,
your imagination. I guess it was about another world.
Well, yeah, it was, but it's just, you know, the music was not only so well done, but I know you're not as big on the lyrics as I am, but the lyrics just told they were so good at telling a story within each song, within each track on that album, and I could imagine myself, you know, being on that deserted planet and coming up across the lighthouse keeper, you know, hoping to keeping hope alive. The whole thing took me away. Great stuff. But,
that album. Yeah, of all Klaatu's albums, that one does that the most.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, Robin, yeah, I'm sure you do. Just based upon the music I've heard you create, you know, if you hadn't known that album, I would have said definitely check it out.
Yeah. But yeah, we're also gonna be catching up with.
We're
gonna catch up with David's taste buds as your master cobbler of our dreams. Klaatu, you gotta love it. Yes. You know, it's been a while. David's gone through some teeth changes, and we couldn't do anything as far as potato chips were concerned, but we know his love for ketchup chips, primarily found in Canada. And
Brandon McGovern, are you listening? Are you watching now? Because this is what you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
That's I was talking about the Fairport Convention, their first 4 albums on Facebook, and yeah, that is certainly a classic.
But David is a classic reviewer of the best of ketchup potato chips, and a few weeks ago I sent him a box that contained 5 different bags of ketchup potato chips,
which I'm still grateful for.
Yes, he has not had the pleasure of trying any of these, and he is going to give us our honest opinion right now as we catch up with David's taste buds. So if you're a ketchup potato chip fan, this little segment is just for you, and we're happy that David can actually crunch into them right now. So what do we got going on?
I think I can. We'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah. For those of you who have never had ketchup potato chips, this is something that's really popular in Canada. Every time I go up to Vancouver, especially Vancouver, because I have a lot more time to kind of walk around to supermarkets and 7-Eleven type. No, you will never get it. So you walk around convenience stores and supermarkets, and they've got all these different varieties of ketchup chips. And it's amazing because very few places in the States can you find them. I have never seen ketchup potato chips in California ever, and some of the brands that are being represented here do have other varieties of chips like Lay's, but never seen Lay's ketchup chips anywhere out here. Again, I always wonder what the board meetings are like. Should we send them to California? Oh no, they won't like those. But Canada, they would. I don't know why, but I have a feeling they're gonna love them.
And anyway. I was telling the tomato pie chips, but they've got cheese on them. So David's not a cheese person, so the tomato pie doesn't work for him. But Seth Rogen and some rap artist was on the First We Feast little YouTube broadcast the other day, and Seth being from Canada, they were doing their favorite snacks, and he picked up a bag of ketchup potato chips, saying he grew up on these things, and he couldn't understand why people in the U.S. didn't like them because we put ketchup on our French fries. It's the same thing.
It's hiding in plain sight in the U.S. That's
hiding in plain sight.
It's so obvious. Well, one of the things I used to love also was if I had a hamburger and potato chips with a pickle, I would love to dip my my potato chips in the pickle juice. And wouldn't you know that a few years later, dill pickle chips started to come out. And they too were only in Canada for a while, but now they have made their way to the US. We do.
I just have this little aside because you just made me think about it when you said pickle. But you know what's all the rage down in Disney right now? Because my youngest daughter works for Disney. They have a dill pickle milkshake.
Oh my God.
And everybody is all over it. And
they love it.
They love it. And I can't even imagine. I mean, I would taste it.
Yeah, I would too. But yeah, I can't imagine either.
I can't imagine.
The consistency of a milkshake just doesn't seem to. It doesn't lend itself to pickle flavor. But next you're gonna see hamburger flavored ice cream. Why not?
Yeah.
Not knockwurst flavored soda. Actually, no. I actually, some people have been posting on Facebook that Oscar Mayer has Mountain Dew flavor hot dogs. Now, I don't know if this is legit, but they showed a picture. I would taste of that. Yeah. Well, that could be. I see again, our generation may just not. It may not be suitable for us, but that's, again, this is their world. DC Tune Time. It's not ours. Right. Anyway, let's get started.
All right. What do we got? What's up first?
We have Great Value ketchup flavored potato chips. So these are obviously, and also French description there.
Oh, very good.
These are obviously from Canada. Great Value. I'll be the judge of that right now.
What's are you gonna rank? Are you gonna rate this like 1 to 10 or 1 to 100 on the scale? What do you think?
I don't know if I'll rate them on a scale exactly, but I will rank the 5 brands.
Okay, all right.
And if one visual, is no good at all, I'll let you know.
You gonna give us a visual? Is there like little powdery red looking of it?
This one's pretty good.
All right. So Great Value with the French phrase on it, whatever it means, flavored.
Got a kick to it.
Oh, a little spice.
Yeah, this is a good one.
I can tell in your body language you're liking this one. I can tell.
I would give it about an 8.5.
8.5 for Great Value. Look at that. It's not even a brand name. It's just Great Value. So right now it's a pretty darn good value as far as David is concerned.
Need to clean the palate here with some Mountain Dew Baja Blast, sugar-free.
I think that's the pickled flavored Mountain Dew. Oh, there we go. Great Value is a Walmart brand. Look at that.
Where? In the States?
Yeah, probably.
Now, keep something in mind. When the dill pickle Lay's chips came here, they used a different method of making them, and they're not as good as the Canadian ones.
Oh, well, yeah, well, there you go. That makes sense.
So
yeah.
I don't know if the Great Value chips at Walmart are going to be as good as these, but these are good.
All right. Well, we've started off with the bang. There was what do we got going on?
This is an old favorite. These were the first ketchup.
Oh, that's the classic Lay's
in Canada. And what does it say up here? Family size, format familial. Yeah, and the Canadian logo.
Well, see, you got the family size, so you have plenty of these potato chips to last you for the evening. Hot dog flavor Mountain Dew coming soon.
Well, if they can do Mountain Dew flavored hot dogs, why not? Look, I think the dill pickle shakes are going to be the start of that kind of thing. If people are really digging that, why not just why not make a hamburger milkshake? Why the fuck not? People might like it.
And when I was down in Disney last year visiting my daughter, they have a Coca-Cola store there where you can sample like Coca-Cola flavors from other countries.
Sure.
And many of them are kind of strange, but they're kind of good. But the one that I loved the best came from Italy. And to me, it tasted like an Amaro, like the bitter liqueur. And I loved it because I love Amaro. I don't know what that is. I love that flavor. But everybody, all my daughter's friends, that's the one they hate the most. But because I have that old palate,
right?
That I first drank Amaro in the 70s. That to me that was like, this is amazing, and they're like, oh God, that's the worst thing I've ever tasted in my life. So yeah. They do love sour, yes they do. Young people.
Yeah, so do
All
I.
right.
All right, here
Lay's.
we go.
You already know
what
this
these
one's
are
gonna be
like,
good.
but
Yeah.
it's been a year since I've had them, so.
All right. He's gonna let that little ketchup flavor waft over his tongue. I can tell it's a familiar flavor to him, as the bag said, familiar.
Definitely a 9.
That's little bit of shade above great value, but that's classic. Is Lay's. We knew that.
No, Lay's does a good job.
Yeah, and Ruben Amaro. I haven't tasted him in a lot of years.
I almost spit out. Oh my God, this would have been a material issues first.
David has to clean the camera. Oh Lord! But Ruben was delicious. Yeah.
All right, here we go. And I know this is another Canadian flavor. Old Dutch ketchup chips. I have had these as well.
Old Dutch ketchup. Yeah. All right.
I've had these as well. But I don't remember exactly what I thought.
Old Dutch seems like it's going to be a much redder. Yeah, it looks redder on screen.
Well, this looks a lot like the Great Value.
Yeah, okay.
Not bad.
What's it missing?
Well, although it has a kick to it, the flavor's a little bit duller. I'd give it a 7, which is not bad. I certainly would not mind eating a bag of those, but
it does sound like a cigar. Maybe if it was a younger Dutch guy making it instead of an old Dutch guy.
Was there? Well, there was Dutch Masters. That was a cigar.
Yeah, Dutch Masters was a cigar.
That's what you're thinking of.
Who enjoyed the bubblegum cigars when they were a kid? You know, the ones you could get that were.
I never ate those.
Oh my gosh!
I saw them.
They had the little cigar band around it.
I had my fill of bubblegum from baseball card packs.
They came in like light green and light pink, and they had their own special flavor. That's memories.
Exactly.
We should start
about nostalgia.
It is. What do we got?
And this one I have not had.
This one I'm curious about. I know Miss Vicky's brand. We have it around here.
We have Miss Vicky's all over the place, but not ketchup
sweet
flavor.
And spicy ketchup.
Sweet and spicy ketchup flavor, again with the maple leaf.
Ketchup, what's it say? Ketchup sucrete
crafted with care since 1987. I know that's like 35 years ago now. So it's actually like, wow, that long, huh?
That's when that bag was expired, was 35 years ago.
It says August 29th, 1987.
There you go. They're well aged.
Yeah. Let's see. I have a good feeling about this.
Tiny Tim did make those, yes.
Nice.
Miss Vicky from like 1 mile down the road.
Really?
Yep.
Is she still around?
She's around, not around here, but
she's alive.
I think she's still alive. Yeah.
Well, let's.
Here we go. Nice color on those. Nice color on those. Oh,
these are a little bit closer to kettle chips.
Yeah, they gotta be thicker, I think. Crunchier.
Although they're not. I would say about an 8. Not quite as good as Great Value.
Oh wow! Okay,
but good enough.
So far, the Walmart brand is holding its own.
Yeah, it's second at the moment.
Yeah, wow. Back to Ruben Amaro.
All right.
Oh, nice. All right. I think. What do we have? One left?
No, we have one left, and I saved what I'm pretty sure is going to be the best for last. Because
what is this one?
These have always been my favorite. President's Choice.
Loads
of ketchup flavor.
Loads of ketchup flavor.
President's Choice is an exclusively Canadian company.
Okay, nice.
And I think they're made in Toronto.
Now, these look like they have ridges.
They do have ridges, and they also are loaded with ketchup.
The graphic.
Let's see.
Sounds crunchier to me. Yeah. Well, that one's loaded with red. Wow. We're going to do a whole show on baseball players that have names related to food. I just lost my.
How about Coot Veal, John Borat?
Coot Veal and Bob Veal. Yeah. There's all kinds of young cows. All right. Well, we got all
solid
five.
10.
Solid 10.
Yeah.
All right. So
I don't think it could get any better than President's Choice.
All right. Well, you heard it right there. If you want to try ketchup chips, President's Choice
number 1
is going to be
Lay's
number 1.
Number 2.
Lay's
Great Value
2.
number 3.
Great Value.
Miss Vicky's number 4.
4. And coming
Old
in dead
Dutch,
last.
number 5.
Old Dutch.
All of them at least acceptable. Nothing bad here.
That's absolutely true, Tim. Comes from a country without a president. Well, that's fantastic. So President's Choice, by far the winner of the Let's Catch Up with David's Taste Buds episode of Material Issues tonight.
I was actually hoping to not eat much before IPO so that when I stood on stage, I'd feel comfortable. But that ain't going to happen now.
It's not going to happen now. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you again so much. I really miss these. Now I am going to be heading up to Vancouver at the end of the month. Yeah. So there will be ketchup shifts aplenty. If anybody here works for any potato chip company, contact your superiors and get them to import these things into the U.S. Yeah. Now you can order them on Amazon, but they're insanely expensive. You know, like President's Choice would be like, I don't know, $8 a bag or something.
Well, I'll tell you what, because they're middlemen, so to speak, that you're paying extra price for. But
now, of course, there is one brand of ketchup chips that is available in the States, and that's hers, which is made right around where you live. And I've had those, and those might very well be. They would probably be second if I had them here. Mm-hmm. So the one American ketchup chip that I know of is as good as 4 of the 5 Canadian ones.
Right. There you go.
So there you go.
I just want to remind everybody that if they didn't watch last week's show with John Lazar from Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, you got to check it on archives. Why? Just because look at that.
And
Dolly Reed, that was one of my early crushes.
And Dick Martin got to tap that regularly.
Dick Martin, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. But, there she is with John Lazar. He was on our show last week, which was awesome. And he was a wonderful guest. Just his stories about being on set with Russ Meyer. Fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, check out the archives. And if you've never actually seen Stump the Bash, it's time.
Stump the Bash, Stump the Bash. Stump the Bash, Stump the Bash.
Stump the Bash right here on Material Issues. If you know how it's played, you have seen it before. If not, it's quite simple.
I'm scared. As Ralph Cramden would say, I'm a scared, Norton. I'm a scared.
We take the years.
Oh, really, Robin? You looked it up? You looked it up to order the Canadian chips, and they're 35 pounds?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That's a lot of potatoes.
Probably not worth it.
Stump the Bash, 65 to 75. It's 11-year period. David randomly picks 5 of those years, and we ask or give him clues, and he's got to try to figure out what the track is from the track position. And, he's got to average 3 points per clue to get 15 points total to not be stumped. How many times
before we go into it, Mark, I just want to say I'm wearing,
nice.
In honor of Stump the Bash, I'm wearing this very retro 70s style shirt, which I think is very groovy. Yeah, no doubt about it.
And
very also
nice.
My watch check. This is a Seiko Recraft. It's not vintage, but it's very vintage styled. Yeah, I love this root beer color, and it really shines well when you put it in the light. And it's got that not quite square, but tapered look to it. And
that's very early 70s. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely in the mood for this. I haven't worn it for a while, and it's definitely it's probably in my top 20 somewhere. That shows how many watches I have now.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that because we're trying to have Seiko on the show.
and
we won't even get into it.
Want to watch too.
You want to watch. Well, anyhow, as we said, David's going to pick, and I have already prefaced this online, building up to the show tonight, that I think this is one of the toughest Stump the Bash I have ever put together. How many times have we actually stumped the bash? Has it been twice?
Well, I know that there were definitely two to start off the year. There may have been three. I can't remember. I would say probably about. I remember I was stumped when I was in Vancouver last year. Yeah. I only got 14 points, but then you gave me the baseball question, and I got that right. But yeah, I still consider that being stumped. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, tonight, if you are actually stumped, I have bonus baseball questions, which is the most interesting bonus baseball questions, I think, as well. It's pretty cool.
All right.
If I do say so myself.
Well, I appreciate all of that. So let's get on with it. What number are we dealing with?
We are dealing with, believe it or not, chart position number 26.
Oh, well, that's fairly high.
It's fairly high.
Even at 26, you said you had trouble with
I had trouble.
Pardon me.
Bless you. I had trouble. So let's see how it goes.
The ketchup dust is getting in my nose here.
It's because you got all those bags open to the left of you. I know. I see it. What year are we starting off with tonight? Stump the Bash.
Well, because I wore this shirt, I was thinking I would start in the middle and work my way out a little bit. So the perimeter years we're gonna leave for next time. But this time, because you said it's so tough, I want to at least keep 3 out of the 5 years in my wheelhouse. So we're going to start with a year that is supposedly my favorite, but yet I never seem to do really great on it. That would be 1970.
Yeah, I knew you were going right there. 1970 chart position number 26. Here is clue number 1 for 5 points. First released as a single in 1969 in Canada, and then March of 1970 in the USA. It features on the album of the same name and was a chart-topping hit in Canada and Ireland. It was also a significant hit in other parts of the world, reaching number 2 on both the US Cashbox and Billboard pop charts for the London label. Backed with Endless Sleep.
I know what it is.
I figured you'd get this one. Of course, Make Me a Liar.
When I was in 8th grade, there was a girl named Diane who had a boyfriend named Billy, and she used to sing that song to him.
I'm putting 5 points down.
I believe this is "Which Way You Goin', Billy" by the Poppy Family.
You got it. 5 points right out of the.
She said Canada. Well, when you said Canada, I thought Indiana Wants Me. But then when you mentioned March, I said, well, that can't. And then you mentioned number 2, and I said, okay. And then you mentioned London, and that sealed the deal.
Right out of the gates, 5 points. Which Way You Going, Billy, by the Poppy Family. Wow, good call. Well, that's your wheelhouse. That's your favorite.
Was that a song about his sexual orientation? I don't really think.
I don't think.
They wouldn't have done that back then.
No,
which is interesting because one of our guests coming up has a song that people thought was about sexual orientation, and well, I guess it was because we all have an orientation, but it wasn't about the orientation that it appeared to be.
Yeah, and so stay tuned for who we're going to announce at the end of the show. We've got 4 great guests coming up, so. Awesome. Well, you got 5 points. So now all of a sudden,
I'm glad 1970 is back in the wheelhouse.
You got it. All right, where are we going?
So we'll move our way out to 1969.
All right.
Anything in the 60s is going to be tougher for me because I didn't actually hear these songs when they were out. So
all right.
It's all about research.
This one's not too bad on you. I think you're picking some good
I'll
years
get
here.
0 on that.
All right, chart position number 26 in 1969. The song was written and composed in 1964.
Yikes.
And originally released on a small regional record label, Truth Records, in 1968. It was later picked up by RCA Records. It reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 6 weeks, starting July 12th, 1969. Backed with Little Kids.
Wow. You're saying it was number 1 for 6 weeks?
Number 1 for 6 weeks, starting July 12th.
That should be pretty easy, no? Well, I can think of something on RCA that later in the year finished number 1, reached number 1, but it wouldn't have been recorded in 64. Wow, now how come I don't know this? Truth, huh? Wait, you said 64, and then what happens in 68?
Originally released on a small regional record label, Truth Records, in 1968.
Okay.
And then picked up by RCA.
Oh, recorded in 64, but not released yet.
The song was written and composed in 64, originally released in 68, and then RCA in 69.
Wow. 6 weeks at number 1, and I don't know what it is? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine that this song would have been written in 64, but I can certainly think of one thing other than the one I was thinking of. I can certainly think of one thing that was number 1 for many weeks, but could it have been written in 64? Shit. Just doesn't. Plus, would it have ever been on a small label given its origins? Yeah. If it's not the one I'm thinking of, then RCA had one hell of a year in 1969. Oh no, and I don't. So wait a minute. It was number 1 for 6 weeks and only finished number 26 for the year.
Yes.
That's bizarre. No, it's not the one I'm thinking of then.
It is bizarre when you think about it, yeah. But yeah.
Shit.
So it must have came, stayed hard, and then dropped.
It stayed hard and then came.
And then drooped.
Yeah. I guess. Wow. It's similar to like The Long and Winding Road by the Beatles.
Yeah.
The following year, but that wasn't number 1 for any 6 weeks.
Yeah.
How in the world don't I know this? Let me think. What else could have been on RCA but the 2 records I'm thinking of? And I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, come on, David. This should be a lot easier than you're making it. Who was on RCA?
Elvis.
No, I know it's not Suspicious Minds. That was the first one I thought of. Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. Somebody out there must have this.
Don't anybody answer in the
6
comments.
weeks at number 1, and I can't think of what it is. Again, not having listened to the radio at that point.
Yeah.
But I still should know this. It's just.
Yeah.
Not. Yeah. It's who else? Who is on RCA? I'm gonna guess it's not a rock band. Oh, wait a minute. No, not in 69. I don't think. No, and it wouldn't. Yeah, it's not that either. I'm just gonna have to say, let's go to the next question.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move on to 4-point question. Clue number 2. They were truly one-hit wonders, never releasing another charting single. They are the only recording act ever to have a chart-topping number 1 hit on both sides of the Atlantic, and never have another charting single in the US or the UK for the rest of their career.
All right, I think I know what it is, but I think they did have, if I'm right about this artist, I think they did have a song that bubbled under the charts called Mr. Turnkey, which is something I used to hear at the Jewish Center jukebox. I'm just gonna have to.
Yeah.
Wait, Imagine by John Lennon in 1971? No, that would definitely have made. That definitely would have made the top any top 100. It wasn't that late. And a song that big would have made some year, even if it got cut off. Anyway, in the year 2525 by Zager and Evans.
Great freaking call, man. 4 points.
And I should have had it earlier. I didn't know
25.
I didn't know it was number one for that long. Wow.
I thought,
and also that it only made it to number 26, being number one for 6 weeks.
Yep, it died. It had to have just fallen off the charts and disappeared.
I mean, I used to hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But Mr. Turnkey was their follow-up, and it bubbled under, didn't quite make the 100.
I knew you had it when you said that, but I couldn't get excited. So
you knew that song?
Yeah, I knew the song. I knew you had it. Then I was just trying to click on Greg's comment right away to take your train of thought away from it. It didn't work.
RCA. Wow. So they had Zager and Evans, Elvis Presley, and the second one I was thinking of, which I knew couldn't be right, Sugar Sugar.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way that finished only number 26. That may have been number one. If it wasn't, it was top 5 for sure.
But look at you. You're at 9 points already. You're killing it. And I thought this was going to be a tougher one for you, but you started off right out of the bat.
No, let's see. I don't want to get too cocky here.
I know it's not over yet.
So we're going, again, we're going to stay in the middle. So now we're going to go 1 year later from 1970 with 1971.
He's making sure he sticks close to his wheelhouse here. He's getting comfortable.
Well, 69 is not my wheelhouse. It's better than 65.
All right, now this one,
make it tougher for myself when we do the rest of number 26.
This one, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this one's not going to be easy because this was a tough clue-based one. But here it is, chart position number 26 in 1971. This R&B track from this LA group formed in 1970, released on Decca Records, was backed with "I Can't Convince My Heart."
Well, I don't know that song, but R&B group formed in 70 and on Decca
in LA.
All right. Well, that should give me something. In 1971, who was on Decca? As soon as you said R&B group, I was thinking about somebody else, but then you said formed in 70. Did you say where they were from?
LA.
LA
group formed in 1970.
I was thinking the Fifth Dimension, but they were not formed in 1970, and they were not on Decca.
Right.
Some people would say they're not R&B either, but that's so this is just finished at number 26. So it was obviously a pretty big record. But you didn't say what time of year, so it could be any time of year.
No, I did not. Yeah,
I wonder if I ever had the single. Well, nothing's coming to mind right away, but let me think further. Again, this is number 26, so we're not talking about chopped liver.
Right. Yeah.
We're not talking about a song that only finished number 8, unless it was on for the charts for a hell of a lot of weeks.
Right.
Not that number 8 is chopped liver. I mean, who wouldn't give their left testicle to have a top 30 hit for the year?
Right.
Let's see. Okay. I have to think of different parts of the year. See, for some reason, I'm thinking of the middle of the year, and there's no reason for me to do that. Because we don't know that's when it's from. Who was on deck? I can think of some people on Atlantic. Of course, that's really not even related. Let me think. Could they have? This should be again number 26. I always figure this should be gettable.
Yeah.
Without too many clues, but right now I'm thinking here.
I promise you that Rena is not feeding him clues in a hidden earpiece. He has no earpiece in.
Nope.
No.
And Rena's not sitting under here either. She could fit. Let's see. Shoot.
But he did come out of the gates.
Decca. I mean, I should be getting this, but it's like I don't even have a germ of an idea.
But if this one stumps him completely, then he's back.
Oh, I thought something came to mind, but it didn't. All right, we'll have to move on. I don't want to keep everyone waiting.
All right, we're going to move on to the second clue for 4 points. It doesn't get easier with this one. This is just a tough one to write for. This was the featured track on the band's 1972 album of the same name. Band members included former members of Pilgrim Travelers, the Pharaohs, and the Five Bells of Joy.
Well, that sounds very R&B.
Yes, it does.
1972.
Even though this is a 71 charting track.
Definitely on Decca, not
on Decca.
Not on Brunswick or any other subsidiary of Universal.
Decca.
Okay. Wow. So 72. So I'll
kind of guess you knew everybody from Pilgrim Travelers.
Probably late. No, it's probably later in the year. Let me try and think of the chart spec. Now, see the one? No, that's not. It's not it. Again, this I'm going to probably kick myself when I don't get this. Same name. No, it's not them. It's not them. It's not them. God, I'm thinking of all these R&B songs that I know from 1971, and there are tons of them, and nothing is coming up Decca.
It's amazing when I do these things too, because it's like, wow, I forgot all about that.
Is this a song you forgot about?
I forgot all about it, and then I have to go out and play it on YouTube or something. And
wow!
Go, oh boy, that was such a good song, but I just forgot all about it.
Well, right now I'm totally forgetting about it.
Well, and that goes to show you with the clues too. The clues are hard to come by because it's not.
You said they, but no, I mean I'm literally going through like tens of R&B songs from 1971 that I know and love, and none of them are coming up Decca. None of them, and that's what. Yeah, it's almost like I would have rather not known it was Decca in this case, but it's a label you don't associate with R&B. Come on.
Somebody was giving you help here. The Five Bells of Joy were Jay, Gary, Albert, and two more.
Well, that's John Borak with more baseball players. I
love it.
Son of a gun. Son of a gun. And I don't mean the beginning of You're So Vain either.
Clue number 3 is not going to help you much, just to let you know.
Damn. It's almost like the clues are getting harder going the other way.
Yes, I think they are.
Well, that's not supposed to happen. The hardest clue is supposed to be the first one, isn't it?
Well, possibly. Although the Poppy Family, you got it right away. I could have gone with a really tough clue on that one, saying that the song was written by Terry Jacks.
Yeah, that would have been tough. God, why am I not? Well, this must be, it may not be a one-hit wonder, but it sure has the makings of that.
It is from now on.
Because it's a song that you said you hadn't even thought about. What the hell is on Decca? I mean, it's like all these R&B songs, and it's going to hit me eventually. I'm going to just, oh my God.
It's a big time for like R&B crossover hits too.
Oh yeah. No, 71 was great for that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not getting it. Let's move on.
All right. We're moving on to this clue, which is not going to help you very much, but it is clue number 3 for 3 points. This track reached number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 7 on the U.S. Adult Contemporary chart, and number 20 on the U.S. R&B chart in 1971.
See, again, the group
reached number 5.
The group I'm thinking of, the group I was thinking of earlier, did reach number 5, I believe. And it is a song that people would have forgotten about, but I didn't think it was, I thought it was on Columbia. But maybe I'm wrong. And since I don't have anything else, I'll have to go with I Found Someone of My Own by the Free Movement. No.
I don't know how you do it, but I found someone of my own by the Free Movement.
I should have had that. I was thinking about that with the first clue, and I thought they were on Columbia.
Yeah, Decca Records. Yeah.
Wow.
Look at
I never had the single, and I never had the album.
Found someone
the clue where you said you hadn't thought of it made me think, okay, it must be a one-hit wonder, and boy, were they ever.
Yeah, the Free Movement. I know the song well, but when I really couldn't associate the name with. I was like, the Free Movement? Why don't I remember that? And it's crazy. But you killed it.
Wow. Well, I didn't kill it. I thought they were on Columbia. I don't know why I thought that, but I've seen that album around. And I've even seen it listed in ads, and I always thought it was Columbia. But all right, it isn't. Cool.
And there it is. 3 points. You're riding at 12 points right now.
12? Okay.
You're at 12. You're in comfort zone period right now. So
All right. Well, we're moving back. We're going to move back to 1968.
Ooh, 1968.
Well, like I said, I'm wrapping around 1970 on both
sides. He's staying as close to 1970. He's going 1968. He only needs 3 points not to be stumped. Chart position number 26, 1968. This 1968 hit, a cover version, released originally in October of 1967, reached number 3 on the Hot 100 for the Imperial label.
Oh, it's a cover version?
It's a cover version.
Does it say it's a cover version of a hit?
Doesn't say it's a cover version of a hit. It just says it is a cover version.
Wait, read the whole clue again. I'm sorry.
It's a 1968 number 26 hit. It's a cover version originally released in October of 1967.
Okay.
But it reached number 3 on the Hot 100 in 1968 on the Imperial label.
Well, Imperial killed the shit out of me last time when Cher was the answer, and I was thinking Jackie. Could this be Cher? Could this be Jackie DeShannon? Could this be somebody else?
This could be.
You said it's a cover. And again, knowing that it's early '68 doesn't help me much because I don't have memory of having heard stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, Imperial could be a number of people.
Yeah, it could be
68.
I think the 5 Bells of Joy were on Imperial too.
Right. All right, that's not enough for me to go on. So let's move on.
Clue number 2. 4 points, still easily wins the program, but it was originally an instrumental song performed by saxophonist Mike Sharp, written by Mr. Sharp, whose real name was Shapiro, with Harry Middlebrooks Jr. It first charted in 1967, hitting number 57 on the U.S. pop charts.
So the first version was an instrumental.
By Mike Sharp, or Mike Shapiro as his given name, and Harry Middlebrooks Jr., the famous Harry Middlebrooks Jr.
Well, I'm not sure.
I knew his dad, and trust me, he was no Harry Middlebrooks.
Any relation to Ken Sharp?
That's Sharp. I think it is Ken Shapiro.
It could have been. Originally, it could have been.
It could have been.
Now, I'm thinking of a song that I think was on Imperial, but I don't see it as an instrumental. Although it certainly could be. And since I have nothing else in my head right now, and then again, it's a year in which time frame isn't helping me, I might as well just go for it and say It Must Be Him by Vicky Carr. No.
No.
I think that was on Imperial. And I can't really see that as an instrumental, although it could have been.
Yeah. Will Middlebrooks.
Another John Borak baseball reference.
All right, moving on to clue number 3 for 3 points. If you get it right here, you still win the night. This is the best known version, obviously. It was created by James Cobb and producer Buddy Bowie when they added lyrics about a little girl. The vocalist on the track was Dennis Yost.
Oh, well, now I know who the band is. As soon as you said Buddy Bowie, I know who it was.
Yep.
Is that relation to Baba Booey on Howard Stern?
Baba Bowie?
Which I know is
Vida Bowie.
Yeah. Which I know that Queekstraw used to call Baba Louie Baba Booey sometimes.
Queekstraw McGraw.
Yeah. Well, that's how Baba Louie.
Yeah, Baba Booey,
Queekstraw. Well, since you said little girl, I'm going, and yeah, I could definitely see this as an instrumental, clearly, but I didn't know it. I have to go with Spooky by the Classics 4.
And David is not stumped. He has come in at 15 points after 4 questions. We did not stump the bash tonight. Didn't happen. But can he come in with a respectable showing by blowing it out of the water by picking one more year?
20 points would be very nice to have. So
right now you're sitting at 15, a 5-pointer.
We're going with 1972.
All right, he's sticking right around his wheelhouse. When I told him this was
the edges of 1970 extending out. So next time I'm going to have the earliest years and the latest years.
Yeah, that could be tough. But 1972, this is just bonus time now. Chart position number 26.
I don't want to embarrass myself. Anything that's in those years that I don't get. Do you remember who Spook Jacobs is, Mark?
No, who's Spook Jacobs?
Well, you had the flipping trading bubblegum book.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
I think the caption under his name was "I don't know, you tell me."
Yes. Now I remember that. Yeah, good call.
Actually, I was in a baseball card shop in Montvale, New Jersey. I'm gonna guess 1976. I was talking to the owner, and I guess I saw a Spook Jacobs card, and I mentioned that it wasn't. I don't know if it was the one in the book. I don't know how many cards the guy had, so maybe it was. And the owner said, I was just on the phone with him a couple of days ago.
Oh wow!
I guess he wanted one of his cards, or maybe his card. Again,
his card. You got my card.
I don't think the guy had too much of a career, but I could be wrong.
But you're right. It's absolutely what I remember it from. There you go. Yeah,
so anyway, this is 1972.
1972.
I don't want to embarrass myself. So
here we go. All right. This track, inspired by the second movement of Mozart's Piano Concerto number 21, hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 1 week, the week of July 1st, 1972, but spent 12 weeks in the top 40.
It's a lot of weeks. Well, at first I thought it was something else, but I don't think that song quite hit number 1. So what were... Not that this is necessarily... Well, the one I was thinking of wasn't an instrumental either. Not that this is necessarily an instrumental.
This was a follow-up to the Free Movement. They called themselves the Bowel Movement.
Wow. Well, I have one thing that I'm thinking of, but I don't... It's something that I suppose could have been inspired by Mozart, but not something you would think of as being in any way classical. But it probably did hit number 1. And July would be, well, maybe July's a little bit, maybe it's like a month late. So it's probably not that. But of course, now that song's in my head and I can't focus on anything else. 1 week at number 1. See, I was in July of 72 for a couple of weeks. I was actually at a baseball camp. And we did have, there were radios around. I think that was the first time I heard Alone Again Naturally when I was at that camp. Obviously, that was number 1 for more than 1 week. So I know it. And it wouldn't have been number 1 in July, or at least not early July, so I know it isn't that. I think it isn't that. No.
It's definitely not Gilbert O'Sullivan. Yep, definitely.
Yeah, no. But and I seem to remember when I was driven up to the camp, when my parents drove me and my brother Joel to the camp, I seem to remember hearing the song I was thinking of on the radio. But inspired by Mozart, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
But well, God, I should be. Yeah. Well, nothing else is coming to mind. I really don't think it's this, but Day by Day by Godspell.
No, not Day by
I think
Day
that might have, if it was number one at all, it was probably June, but
yeah,
I think it was kind of moving down the charts at that point. But
it's okay. I mean, so you're not finishing up with a 5-pointer, but we got a 4-point question here, which is still quite respectable since you've already won the night. But this track was the artist's second number one hit in the USA and their last solo number one song.
Oh, all right. So it's a person. And then they joined a band that had a number one. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's his. I just gave you his last solo number one.
And then he joined. Well,
he might have joined a band. He might have sung a duet.
No, why would you say? Yeah. I mean, all right.
He might be calling you on the phone right now.
All right. Actually, he's had 2 number ones.
Yeah.
No, it's obviously not the 2 I'm thinking of because they would have had more. And they weren't quite at that time of year. What the hell? Okay, that's not him.
Spook Jacobs was calling.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe you had his card.
I don't. I don't think I'm not sure I ever did. Let me see. What was Spook Jacobs' first name? Real first name?
I'm going to say if I was going to name if I'm Mr. Jacobs and I'm looking at naming my son, I'd say Herman.
No.
What was it?
That could be Stump the Hershberger. His first name, if I remember correctly, was Forrest.
Forrest Jacobs.
Yeah. Why he was called Spook, I have no idea. All right. Well, back to the question. So 2 number ones.
2 number ones.
I guess he could have been in a band before. And had a number one hit there, but got 2 number ones and I'm not getting it. Let me go through see if I can remember stuff from the heavy. Well, it wasn't the heavy 100. The top 100 was 72. Of course, I can't right now. No, it's not him. Because he only had 1. That's right, Forrest Castleman. With a name like an orthodontist, you're going to play like an orthodontist.
Play like one.
Yeah, also in the book.
I love that book.
That's what I remember about his caption.
I wore my copy of that book out.
Yeah, I bought another one recently on eBay. Damn, this person had 2 number ones. Nah, was this song number one? Oh, wait. No, but that might have been later. And I don't think he was ever in a band. Well, I mean, I don't want to be thrown off here. So was this person in another configuration, whether it be band or duo or whatever, that had a number one?
I don't know.
No, I mean the implication.
But the implication is yes. I mean, I didn't look up. I would think that he has, yes.
All right.
Has had. I would have thought he had more than just 2 number ones, but.
Oh, all right. Yeah, all these people I'm thinking of, and that that doesn't really, none of them fit the bill, which is really weird. Why am I not getting this? Is this the second clue or the third?
This was the second clue.
So this is the 4-pointer.
Yeah.
Damn. Again, I'm thinking of all kinds of number ones from 1972, and none of them were from people who had 2 number 1 hits, or at least not that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And then I'm stuck on some people here who didn't have a number 1 yet. They eventually did. Damn. All right, move on. I'm not getting.
All right, we're going to go to clue number 3 for 3 points. This track was released in May of 1972 on the Uni label, backed with the song Gitchy Gumi.
All right, well, I know the artist, but what band was he in that had a number 1?
Not band. Doesn't have to be band.
Or what? Oh, maybe he did a duet with someone. All right. God, what was? Whose was? All right, now I think we're going to have a stylistics moment here because.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we could.
Because I'm stuck. Oh, wait, was this from? Wait a minute. No. All right, I think it's Song Sung Blue by Neil Diamond.
And there's 3 points. Song Sung Blue, grand total of 18 for the night. You were not stumped, and somebody else was stumped, but you were not. Song Sung Blue.
I mean, I knew the B-side, so even if you hadn't said Uni, I would have known it was Neil Diamond.
Wouldn't you think Neil Diamond had more than just 2 number 1s on his own? But
yeah, especially, I mean, so even later on, he didn't have number 1 with America or any of those crappy songs.
You would think. I don't know, but that's the facts, Jack, as I report them.
Well, the first clue the first one you ever gave me, where it was Cracklin' Rosie, I would assume
Cracklin' Rosie, yeah.
that was the other number 1, unless it wasn't Holly Holy. Maybe it was Sweet Caroline.
I think Cracklin' Rosie was the other number 1.
That's what I think.
But I would have thought Sweet Caroline made number 1, but it did not. It did not.
Well, Sweet Caroline is a lot bigger now than it was then.
Yeah. We talked about that in the past too. Like,
and unfortunately,
looking back on things,
every time when people sing it, whether it be at a Red Sox game or I remember there was a Big Bang Theory episode where Howard and Amy sang it. They discovered they were both Neil Diamond fans. And when they do the so good, so good, so good, my head definitely it would like to explode. Like I'm quoting something from Ball 4 there, paraphrasing something from Ball 4 for John Borak's benefit. But yeah, my head definitely explodes every time that happens because I can't stand it. There was no so good in the damn song.
Right. Well, it happens all the time. I'll do Sweet Caroline at the restaurant sometimes. Whenever I just got the whole dining room singing along, and it hit that point, and they're all with the so goods. You don't bring. Yeah, Tim was saying you don't bring me flowers. Probably hit number 1 as a duet.
That's what I would have thought. Yeah.
But I'm just dying to do this right now. You made 18 points. I'm going to give you a couple bonus baseball questions because it's a lot of fun. I want to see if you can get. If I give you the baseball player's name, you tell me what their best known nickname was.
Okay.
All right. So if I told you Grover Cleveland Alexander,
is that one of the questions?
Yeah, that's his name. What's his best known nickname?
Well, it's got 2 best derivations, either Pete or Old Pete.
There you go. You got that one. That was easy.
Yeah.
What did they call Sam Crawford?
Wahoo Sam.
You got it.
He was born in Wahoo, Nebraska.
Wahoo.
And may have lived there his whole life. I don't remember, but he was in the glory of their times, and he was just one of those typical guys that once he quit baseball, he just totally, it was out of his life.
That's it. Yeah.
And it would be like when people would see him and they'd know who he was, he'd always be surprised. No, I mean, you hear that a lot from those old guys because it's not like they got the publicity they get now.
Right, exactly.
I mean, there's no way a ball, especially a Hall of Fame quality ball player, could hide from having played that level of baseball. But back then, they became older. People, if they didn't see a baseball card or maybe a grainy picture in a newspaper, they didn't recognize it.
They wouldn't recognize it.
Especially when you got older.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. There weren't no autograph shows,
Not exactly.
What did they call Bob Feller?
Rapid Robert.
Rapid Robert.
I hope that wasn't his girlfriend that called him that.
That's where it originated from. How about George Anderson?
Well, Sparky.
I didn't know if you'd get the George right. So
he only had one Major League Baseball card, 1959.
Oh, really?
I believe it's a Phillies card.
Wow. All right. Well, here's the last question. You're killing this, obviously, but there are 4 really well-known nicknames for George Herman Ruth. Can you give me 3?
Yes, I win. You just asked if I could. And
you could. So that's it. Game over. Give me 3 of George Herman Ruth.
George Herman Ruth. Well, of course, there's Babe.
There's Babe. That's 1.
And then, of course, there's the Sultan of SWAT.
That's 2.
And the Bambino.
That's 3.
He's also known as the Big Bam. He was also known as the Colossus of Clout.
That's the 4th one, that most popular, Colossus of Clout.
Yeah, there's a book called The Big Bam because I guess people called him that.
Yeah.
Apparently, after he retired, occasionally he would refer to himself as the Baby.
The Baby.
Yeah, like I think when he was a coach of the Dodgers, he'd say, "Watch the baby hit when he get a batting practice pitch, and he could still hit it out." I'm trying to remember. There are others. Oh, the Wait, no. That's Jack Dempsey, but
Manassas Mauler.
no, but I think there were all kinds of alliterative names like Sultan of SWAT, Colossus of Clout, but he had a few others. I'm not remembering them right now.
He probably had the most nicknames of anybody.
There are others, but there you go.
Well, there you have it. 18 points on Stump the Bash. You were not stumped tonight. You even killed the bonus material
on any baseball questions. If you ask me about old time, baseball from, I would say in 1985 and back, I'm pretty the Yankee anchor. That was that was Hideki Matsui because he had, if you remember, he had a huge porn collection.
I thought that was Joe Pepitone.
Oh, that's true. You're right. Yeah, Pepitone when he wasn't getting the real stuff, he was definitely yanking it. But no, Hideki Matsui had a huge porn collection, probably still does. And he wasn't shy about letting people know. I mean, a lot of the guys on the team would get their porn from him.
Hey, if that's what he was into, it's not illegal,
No, it wasn't. But that's not,
it's
not necessarily the kind of thing that you want the public to know about. But
not usually something you talk about, Well, that was awesome.
His nickname was Godzilla, by the way.
Yeah, Godzilla.
It was in Japan.
I think I have that down as a Yankee.
Baseball 1985 and before, I'm probably going to be pretty good at. But you ask me stuff about today's players, I might get like 3 out of 10, maybe.
Well, I went with a bunch of the older players. I knew a lot of them.
That's my wheelhouse, definitely.
How about
sure? Go ahead.
How about Lloyd Wainer?
I want to tell you the origin of that nickname. Paul and Lloyd Wainer were called Big Poison and Little Poison, respectively. They were brothers, but it was not meant to be poison. There was a fan. When they would play the Brooklyn Dodgers, there was a fan who would call them Big Person and Little Person because Paul was a lot bigger than Lloyd. Lloyd was a little brother and was a little brother. He was like 5'7", 150. Paul was like, I don't know, maybe 5'11", 180. So it was supposed to be Big Person and Little Person, but because of the accent, it was Big Poison and Little Poison. Yeah. And somebody picked. Do you know who Big Poop and Little Poop are, Mark?
No, who's Big Poop and Little Poop?
Dennis Wilson was Big Poop and his wife Barbara was Little Poop.
Okay.
They used to call each other that when they were married.
Did not know that.
That's in the book Heroes and Villains. In fact,
you know what? Now that you say that,
if I can get to
I
it.
just I didn't remember that from that. Yeah.
This place is a mess, but
Big Poop and Little Poop.
This is one of the most entertaining books. Well, yeah, we talked about it. David Leaf, who we had as a guest, seemed to believe in the veracity of this book. Now, he's much more of a Beach Boys expert than I am, but I just cannot believe that some of these stories are true.
Right. Yeah.
I really don't. I have all kinds of theories about how some of these stories came about. One of them I probably should not say over the air, but this is a fun book written by Stephen Gaines. There he is on the back. Some of these things are clearly facts. Some of these things are clearly fiction. No matter what David Leaf says, there's no way some of this stuff happened.
There's David Leaf right now saying, no, they're all real.
I know he would. He'd say, what are you talking about? But yeah, he seems to think that it's all true. But I mean, John Borak and I talk about this book ad nauseum, and we also quote a lot of lines from the book to use in general conversation, just because only he and I could get away with doing that, because we know so many lines.
I didn't remember that at all. Yeah.
John Borak and I both agree that most of the, maybe not most, but a lot of the stuff is just pure horseshit, but great entertainment.
But great entertainment writing. And speaking of conversations, who will we be conversating with coming up in the next number of weeks? This is what I was alluding to earlier. We got great guests coming up. So if you haven't subscribed here to Material Issues or over on YouTube, now's the time to do it. Holy cow.
Next week, we do not have a guest. So it'll be us being silly again. The following week, we do have a guest. That's from Ball 4. That's a quote from Ball 4.
Ball 4.
After a player farted, and then he farted again. And that was one of the other players' response to that. On the 16th, we have one of the main men of the great pop band City Boy, a little bit of prog influence, a little bit of 10cc kind of cheeky lyrics going on. They had the hit 5705. That was their biggest hit in the States. I don't remember how they charted in the UK, which is where they're from, but this is one of the main guys. He then went on to he went on to co-write She Bop with Cyndi Lauper. Nice. He wrote songs for Britney Spears, Nick and Aaron Carter, Joan Jett, Jefferson Starship, Peter Frampton, Felix Cavallari from the Young Rascals, and several others. And then he became vice president of A&R at Jive Records.
Wow.
Which was the label of Britney Spears. And he was also the A&R executive for NSYNC, Justin Timberlake, Backstreet Boys, and so on.
So he's had moderate success, is what you're saying.
Yeah, moderate. And then he was a vice president of A&R in Atlantic. So he's done quite a bit in the business, as well as being a really great singer-songwriter and a really cool guy. He and I have conversed quite a bit on Facebook. Steve Stevel,
awesome,
who was known as Steve Broughton when he was in City Boy. And interestingly, there was another Steve Broughton in the early 70s prog band, Edgar Broughton Band. And I don't know if you've heard any of the early Edgar Broughton albums, but they are bizarre, to say the least. Finally, in the mid-70s, they became a little bit more mainstream and melodic. But those early albums are just... I remember buying one and just being so turned off by it. And then I found out that by the mid-70s, they actually became more melodic. I mean, they were still a little out there, but it was listenable.
Right.
Anyway, not the same Steve Broughton. So that's what we have on the 16th. And now on the 23rd, take it away, Mark.
Yeah, the 23rd. If you were a fan, 1989 through 96 of the television show American Gladiators, you would know Ice as have a female replacement halfway through the first season. Lori Fetrick was Ice on American Gladiators. She's going to be here to talk about a new documentary out on Netflix called Muscles and Mayhem, which shows all behind the scenes of just how the heck they made these contests up.
I better watch it before we have her on.
I love it because it shows all the props and things just falling apart and things weren't working, and then it became very popular though. And then they're all very honest about the rampant steroid use. So it's not like we'd be surprising anybody to say, "Did you guys do steroids?" Because they all did. And
so
Lori,
you're saying as women were doing it too?
I think so. I think that's the point of the whole thing. They were all doing it.
Well, we know their dick won't shrink.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about that.
But Lori's been very nice, and she's looking forward to doing the show. So we're gonna have Ice from American Gladiators.
When you first said Ice, I thought you were talking about Ace Frehley, because when I saw Kiss, Paul Stanley, when he was introducing the band, said Ice on lead guitar.
Great power pop band, Kiss is.
Yeah. Brian Albright, are you listening?
Probably.
Anyway, so that's very cool. Then we still have empty weeks until September 13th. Is that right?
Yeah, September 13th is our next one.
You have to announce this because you have definitely, you definitely got the guest of the year.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. It's booked, but you never know sometimes about things. But September 13th, 2 top 10 records.
And one very close to the top 10.
Yeah. 1973, he came out with those lyrics that said, "I remember when Mary Lou said, 'You want to walk me home from school?' And I said, 'Yes, I do.'" And then he followed that up at Spiders and Snakes, and he followed that up with Wildwood Weed in 1974. Mr. Jim Stafford is going to be on the show here on Material Issues.
I mean, obviously Spiders and Snakes was a huge hit. I don't know. I don't think we've hit it on Stump the Bash.
No, I don't think so. No.
But yeah, so when we do get to that one, I don't know what you're going to have to make the clues pretty hard
in a different language.
Yeah, maybe
in a different language. But yes, he's had the Jim Stafford Theater in Branson, Missouri for many years. He was iconic for me when I was coming out of elementary school into junior high in those years. And that song, Spiders and Snakes, I loved it. So thrilled.
It's interesting, Mark, because I've been coming out of elementary schools lately quite a bit.
Yeah, I know.
All right, now everyone's going to get offended.
Oh, look, the viewership just took a dive.
Christine 16. We kind of like that, right? That
but Jim Stafford. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a special one. And then you talk about
before we get to the next guest. You mentioned Spiders and Snakes and Wildwood Weed. I don't want to tell Jim this. I hope he's not watching. But oh man, do I hate that! Oh my God, it's awful. It's not much of a song either.
But he was known for a number of spoken word. That was kind of the style.
I mean, it's humorous, but it didn't do anything for me. And I didn't smoke pot, so
I was surprised that it was top 10.
I really am. And again, as I mentioned last time, I never WABC, which and any of the other New York stations that were top 40, I never heard that song, not even once.
Yep.
So, but the follow-up I did hear on American Top 40, and that follow-up definitely raised a few eyebrows. My Girl Bill, probably would have made the top 10, but there are probably a few stations in some parts of the country that wouldn't play it, that probably never even got to the punchline. They probably heard the first verse and said, this is not getting in our rotation.
There you go. Tim,
like me, did you not get it until the final verse? Because I did not. Again, I probably would now if I heard it, but I was 16 at the time.
Yeah.
And all I'm doing is focusing on what the hell is he talking about here? What is he singing about? Oh my God, and that's exactly what he wanted. He wanted to get sucked into the outrageousness of it, and not even think about the fact that maybe there's a joke in there somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Oh my God, man, I could not believe it when I heard that. the end of the final verse.
Well, wait to hear. He's a great storyteller, obviously, with the lyrics that he's written. But wait to hear the story on just how spiders and snakes came about. Just it's like really, and because it was originally put together by Ralph Bellamy, Bellamy Brothers, and
Ralph Bellamy.
Not Ralph.
I don't remember the names of the brothers, but I
Bellamy.
can tell you that Ralph was not one.
Nah, not Ralph. Hold on, I just lost it.
I don't remember their first names.
Bill Bellamy.
That's Bill Bellamy was an actor comedian.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, Bellamy Brothers.
I mean, he might have been named Bill. My girl, Bill Bellamy.
Nobody got.
No one got until the final. Yeah, I would imagine not.
Great stuff.
In retrospect, when I hear it now, it's like, how did I not get that? And I didn't get it because I was 16.
It was Bob Bellamy. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That has not. I don't believe that's been one that we've gotten to on.
Never got to either.
Who knows? It may have been a year I didn't choose 1970 that we, a position that we already did.
Just because you didn't choose it, but I mean, So Jim Stafford going to be a great guest, but we're gonna follow that up with another pal right in your face with a fantastic guest.
Definitely pal right in your face, although not because he had huge hits in the 70s or any other time, but he's certainly one of the most beloved singer-songwriters in this here power pop universe. Mm-hmm. And he will be having, he was a member in good standing of the iconic band Jellyfish, and he will be releasing an EP this fall on my favorite label, Omnivore Recordings. Yes, it's Roger Joseph Manning Jr. on Material Issues, September 20th. So I'm sure he has a bunch of great stories to tell, and maybe we'll be able to sample some tracks from the EP. I hope so.
Wonderful. Yeah. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group or joined over on YouTube, do it so you don't miss our updates and these fantastic guests, and let all your friends know. Tell them, hey, listen, these guys got Roger Joseph Manning Jr. They got Jim Stafford. They got Ice from American Gladiators.
I will bet you that no other show has had those three people. In fact, I would say no other show had even Jim Stafford and Roger Joseph Manning Jr. on them.
Yeah.
But when you add Laurie Hetrick, aka Ice, I'd say that's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
That no show has had all three of those people on. But Material Issues will indeed.
We do it. And as we always say, we've got irons in the fire. And you never know what we're going to surprise you with. So that's why you got to join.
I might have to get someone from the Free Movement. Just so I can apologize for thinking they were in Columbia.
Yeah.
And they say, I wish we were.
I wish we were on Columbia.
I couldn't find that video.
But I did not call you, Alexa. Oh, geez, now I did.
So yeah, good stuff coming up. Looking forward to it. Next week it's just going to be you and I again. We'll probably have another Stump the Bash and some goofy stuff that I'll come up with.
I wish we could do something live from IPO, but unlike Liverpool, this would be a major strain to people outside of the West Coast.
Yeah.
Even if we started the show, even if we started Material Issue, yes, they do. Thanks you, Tim.
Appreciate it.
We love Omnivore. I feel very privileged to be able to have this compilation on that label.
Yeah.
Huge thanks to them. But yeah, the shows, the Wednesday show at IPO starts at 7:30, which would be 10:30 Eastern, which is doable, I suppose. But then the people in the UK are. I mean, I suppose we can talk about it.
We could always do a bonus episode live.
Maybe we can record it and
just put it out there. We can do it. We can do things.
I'm happy to do something from Redwood Bar at 7:30. So we'll talk about that. Maybe
we'll talk about it.
Maybe we'll do a bonus one and air it later.
Keep your eyes peeled. You might see a bonus episode. Live from it wouldn't be live. It would be tape delayed from
Memorex. Yeah.
Memorex.
Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for sticking around with us. We broke the 2-hour mark.
We sure did.
As we're wont to do, and it's just you and me.
It's amazing how the time flies when you're having a lot of fun. So
yeah,
it's all good. But we'll see everybody again next week right here on Material Issues. It's been a blast. We'll do it again soon.
You got it.
Cheers.